And Tina, we forget that for us to get to the stage of UTT, we cannot get there by osmosis, because I was next to a hero, I am now a hero. I am not inspired by DT of the last days, I must say it. UTT that we celebrate here, I am not inspired. Because it's not my age mate. I cannot be inspired by an old man. But the DT that inspires me is the DT of Janda. The DT who mobilized other young people and they started resistance. The DT that inspires me is the DT of G. Will DT on inspire cool? Because the problem that we have is that we have become political philosophers at the expense of waging a serious fight of resisting this current governance. Cool and collected. Yes, the TT of the last days was cool and collected, but the calmness and the coolness that TT got, he got it after years of a protracted struggle that he waged. Allow us as young people to go through the same process that the TT of later life went through. The TT that inspires me is the TT who was visited by Sekeramai and Mnangagwa in prison and asked to join ZANU and blatantly refused. That is the TT that inspires me. The TT that inspires me is the TT that Nkabe said about as long as he's not here, there is no unity accord. Because he knew the kind of person he was. The TT that inspires me is that TT Oatepume Jelen was asked by Nkabe to give guarantees that he's not going to fight back. And he says, I have no guarantees to give anyone. That is the TT that inspires me. Out of character is because the DT of the last days is not the DT of 1961. For now, what is necessary and needed, because ZAPU is not in power, is the DT of 1961. That is in power. The tales are standing and I'm in Hampton, saying you aim so far, you honorable. I never said you but for now I cannot afford to. Yes, I guess when our people are not free. Yes, I guess when our young people are not employed. Yes, I guess when old men are looting the country. They are looting everything, including Amankazana size. The country does not have a vice president because we size. I cannot afford to rest. I cannot afford to be calm and collected. The only thing that I can afford to be is to be the DT of yesteryear. The Black Russian. What DT Hanana, what kind of youth are you? Who would you have never been called for a meeting to us only Kuza, Zelivela Mosha. As ZAPU, you are fortunate or unfortunate because you know STO Moshayo. Kona Siza Mosha. We cannot afford to have our fathers fighting a second struggle. Our Delaware fought for us. By winner is they were fighting for Zimbabwe. Correct. They won Zimbabwe. We won it. Who decided to bastardize their gains is none of our business. Correct. Our Delaware to value their struggle sabo. If we are not happy, it is not for us to say, unkomo wathengisa maybe ngabe wenzani. Unkomo uthekulento emhlupayo wasukuma, he fought against it. Dabengwa uthekulento emhlupayo, he stood up and he fought against it. Tina will not be able to win this war by being philosophers. We will not win this war by having a debate and a scenario meeting and postulations that don't get to be translated to things that we can implement. A lot of our people are good at analysis. But the struggle where we are is not for analysts. It is not for political commentators. It is for people of action. Ask yourself, ever since you joined ZAPU, what have you done to make Zimbabwe better? After our TG left, in any case, he was a lightweight. Very heavyweight in party. I refuse to be lightweight. You cannot be a heavyweight by associating with heavyweights. I associate with a lot of heavyweights. But I also want to be heavyweight. And that can only be ended via a calculated strategy and program of action. But we cannot continue to have a ZAPU of paranoia. I'm not sure of the way we are going. The only thing that keeps them here is but somebody who was born in the year 2000, today, only 22 years, they have nothing that connects them to the liberation struggle. There is nothing according to them that is beautiful about the liberation legacy. Because a normal country to them is a country where there is no freedom of expression, where there is no where you can learn and get educated and still not get a job, where it's normal to get educated to take mathematics. So when you go to them and speak to them about the liberation legacy, they don't understand. So the ZAPU that we are building must be a ZAPU that speaks to our current context. Let's refuse to be giants, standing on the shoulders and stories of our fathers when we ourselves have no story to tell.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
After being a Sunday, let me quote from the Bible. One time somebody was casting a demon. The Bible is somebody the demon turned round. That Jesus I know. Paul I know. Who are you? Let me my message to you today is Dabengwa I know.
Como we know.
Como we know. Mangena I know. Lookout Masuba I know. Parenyato I know. Matimba Muto I know. Zeta I know. Kanje wena mwebani. Oangati. Let me help you. One of our biggest mistakes as a people now is failure to utilize our being in the diaspora. Is Zimbabwe ivele Zambia? Is Zimbabwe ivele Mozambique, Tanzania, Angola, Algeria? Our people came here and we forgot that we still have a role to play. That is why we have voted. Very few of us here are registered to vote back home. Very few. Can't imagine is a very few of us are participating in the processes of Zimbabwe. But what can we do? Number one, are you aware that if we get 100,000 people in the diaspora to contribute 100 rand once a year, You have 10 million rand for elections. 100,000 people giving you 10 rand once a year. How much when have you given to the struggle?
0.
Number 2, what can you do? Nale Zimbabwe, you are our freedom of speech. We can't talk freely. Which is why I always remind people, I once spoke at a funeral. One time I met mass that you written, ZAPU must go. I spoke at the funeral of a comrade in Bayo. Omni Mutu Wanyan is what I don't know.